everyone got to know who put all this together.
Yeah.
It's not just people in front of the camera. But we back in it. Another episode of Unrehearsed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Deshaun.
It's your girl Mo.
And we back again on Unrehearsed. And today we're doing Dreams and Visions.
Dreams and Visions.
Now, this one. Now, throughout our time filming, I have noticed that this is a topic that is covered quite a bit. Or, well, yeah, or just at least hinted on. Maybe not. That hasn't really been much of a dedicated episode. We did do characteristics of success.
Oh, we did kind of tap.
We tapped in on it. So it makes its way in and out of,
It'd be weaving.
It'd be tying in,
intertwining.
But we figured it'd be good to do a nice little dedicated episode because why not? We're out here chasing dreams.
Yeah.
We're trying to make our visions reality anyway. So what's happening, Mo?
What's happening? So, I had a dream that one day. No, I'm just kidding. So many of you just really got mad. I'm sorry. Right? It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt, Pepper, and Heavy D up in my limousine, and pictures on my wall. Anyways, so let's talk about Biggie. That's what this is really about. Biggie and Tupac.
We really just want to talk about Biggie and Tupac this episode.
Want to know Biggie, can't you see? Sometimes you want to just, anyways. Okay, let me get back on track. I'm sorry, y'all. So, dreams and visions. There's some conversations that I've been having with a specific human that I can't share, but the specific human is working on things, and it has to do with dreams. And so I was like, hey, we should talk about that, because what are your dreams? And so, yeah, I just thought this would be a fun topic, because I do feel that a lot of times as we get older, we've learned to, whether it's through ourselves or we've gotten comfortable with where we are, we've learned to settle for just wherever we are, and we forget about our dreams. We forget about the things that, kept us up at night. We forget about the things that just kept us going, and that we just worked really hard and nonstop and was hey, I'm on the grind. I want to make this happen. And yeah, and same thing with vision. I feel like we talk about vision, when 2020 happened, everyone's like, oh, 2020 vision, but really clear, perfect vision is 1020. So it was we were not on it, but it's okay. Yeah. We was out here trying.
Plus no one saw that coming.
Right. Come on. Literally. Nobody had a vision for that.
No one saw that coming.
And so, so I just wanted to talk about that. So can we just start off talking about complacency? I just let's just jump into it. Dive on in. I'm about to
Complacency is dangerous in certain circumstances.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. Not altogether dangerous?
Well, yeah, not all. It just depends.
Oh, you're interesting. Okay, please explain to me and the people.
Me personally.
Okay.
What do I always say? It's not the way, it's a way. I think something like this, it's a case by case basis. I'm not necessarily black or white.
Okay.
You're great. With some stuff, it's okay, it's either this or that. And then with some stuff, it's okay, maybe it's more appropriate to tackle it case by case.
Okay.
So it's I say that because we know Paul said in the Bible, godliness with contentment is a great gain. Mm-hmm. So it's okay, maybe depending on what it is, or maybe I'm just kind of mistakenly mixing up the two, but maybe depending on what it is, complacency isn't bad. If God has you doing a certain thing, that's where he wants you to be, even, I feel like I can do more, but God's nah, I want you right here.
But see, that's contentment, you said.
Okay.
Because I feel like it is what you said, complacency. Okay. Let me just pull up a definition.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe I need a dictionary.
Okay, let's Google it.
On my Alonzo Leron.
Or am I going to Google it? Because we both Googled it.
Googled it. I'm a Merriam-Webster it.
Okay, I'm going to Google it. So, definition from Oxford Languages. Complacency means a feeling of smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. That's interesting. You good?
Oh, wow. I'm just looking at the synonyms of it. I guess perhaps this word didn't mean entirely entirely what I thought it was. So maybe I am just mixing the two. But this definition off of Merriam-Webster's dictionary app says self-satisfaction, especially when accompanied by unawareness of actual dangers or deficiencies. So yeah, I think I was probably mixing up definitions.
Okay.
So forget everything I just said.
Don't forget what you just said. Just for complacency, complacency is complacency. Contentment is contentment.
Okay. Now that we've established that.
Okay.
Complacency is bad.
It definitely, because I was like, I know it naturally has a negative connotation when people are talking about it. But we do hear what you're saying, because you were like, oh, but it is important to learn to be content. But contentment, I feel like complacency comes when there's goals, there's visions, there's dreams, but you just stop working towards it.
You start settling.
Or you start settling. You're like, you know what? Maybe that dream was way too big.
Maybe I don't really want this.
Right. Like maybe I'd rather help somebody else make their dream come true, and that's me fulfilling my dream. Wow, that hurt my soul. But that's some people's story.
That probably opened up for another conversation we probably should have off camera.
Okay.
Just because I don't know where that could go.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, complacency. It is dangerous, especially if you really have big. I mean, it's dangerous when having those definitions be our foundation. I guess for this conversation, it is dangerous, but it is a trap, and it's like you have to fight it. You know what I mean? Like, cause like if you want to get to, let's say, the top of the mountain, and you've been climbing and you climbing.
Always gonna be another mountain.
wow.
I'm always gonna wanna
Hannah
make
Montana,
it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Yeah.
Love Hannah Montana. Came up watching.
That's not Hannah Montana though. That's
Miley
Cyrus.
Cyrus.
Get it right.
It was in the movie.
Get it right. But it was still Miley Cyrus singing.
But yeah. Don't know. Oh yeah. Okay. But anyway, back to what we were saying.
Sorry, if you want to get up to the mountain.
So yeah, you got your mountaintop. Obviously, everyone starts at the bottom. You've been climbing, so now you're like somewhere in the middle. And you look back and like, man, you know, I actually came a long way.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good. But you didn't still reach that top goal that you want. You might get complacent, like, man, it's really getting to the top. That important. I've gotten this far. This is pretty good. Maybe most people don't get as far as where I've gotten, but I've gotten this far. And it's I feel like it's natural at some point to fight those thoughts off, because at some point you're going to question, like, dang, is this worth it? You know what I mean? Is this worth it? All this stuff I'm doing, especially when you're not like seeing results. I've been there, and I fight those. Oh gosh,
Right. Go.
I fight those thoughts off, because remembering in moments like that, you got to remember your why. Like, okay, we know what you're doing, but why are you doing it?
Right.
And yeah.
I was just gonna say, I feel like sometimes that's beautiful. By the way, isn't he just lovely, you guys? Let's just. But I was gonna say though, I do feel that what you said was beautiful. I think a lot of times when people, oh bro, I was like, don't be getting at my posture right now. I think a lot of times I was like, right.
No, you're good. It was just something.
Just like, I was just gonna say why. Sometimes our why isn't strong enough. I'm finding that out. Because I've heard people say that a lot of times, and I'm like, okay. And like, I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm one of those people where I'm like, okay, like this is the vision, and I'm like, I have no idea how to get there. So I just immediately am stuck as soon as I have the vision or the dream, because I'm like, I don't know how to like, this is where I want to be. So let's just like put it in reverse and like get there. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, like, you know, I like think of good reasons, like, I want to do it for generational wealth. Let's go. And then it's like maybe 2 weeks and I'm like, generational wealth ain't worth it. So then I'm just like, let's just take a break. Like, let's do something else. And so, yeah, so I feel like me personally, I don't think complacency is my problem, or like, I don't think so much finding a why is my problem, but it's just like having it be a solid why is what gets me like stuck. Cause I'm like, okay, generational wealth, and yeah, but go.
First off, wow.
Yeah.
A solid why.
Yeah.
Well, I think, well, what is my why? I think that's probably the best.
Oh my God, let's talk about it. This is gonna be good.
Or at least how I came about, like, figuring out what my why is.
I mean, it can't just be because you're good at it. I mean,
right, that's not enough.
You know, but it's like, oh, I'm good at it, and it's just like,
you know,
where's the passion?
You know, I was good at, you know, several things, but I don't really keep up with some of those things much anymore. You know, because it's like the why wasn't strong enough. It was cool for a time, it was fun, or whatever the case was, but you know, so for me.
Sorry, just like the sliding door. So it's kind of like loud. He's probably gonna turn on the TV.
Oh, okay.
My bad. You can
no, you're good.
Go ahead.
You're good.
What
we want to make
saying?
sure this is top tier quality production at all times. But for me, in my journey, and perhaps this is natural for everyone in their journey, but the why changed.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, there's the essence and the core. There's the root, if you will.
Okay.
And then what sprouts out of that has changed. Like, for example, when I always go back to music because everything kind of like leads back there. So when I first started, my why for making that SoundCloud mixtape was like, it's been tugging on my heart for years. I couldn't come up with a good enough reason not to do it. Okay. And I'm trusting in God when doing it, so why not?
Why not?
So
why not?
It was like, okay, why not? This was like a little leap of faith. I didn't expect much of anything at all. I actually really had no expectations for that first mixtape. And I just wanted to see if I could do it.
Okay.
And
so that was your why. You're like,
that was the earlier.
Why not? Like, that's the first one.
It's been tugging at my heart for years. I feel like it's God tugging at my heart specifically. I keep, being attracted to it. Why not try it out? Because my thing is, I don't want 30, 40 years to pass by and I look back at these moments and like, man, I never even gave it a shot.
Wow, you just hurt some people's souls right now. It's not too late, though, y'all. We still love y'all.
Oh, dang. I'm gonna get canceled one of these
reality.
days,
It's okay.
But that was my why,
Yeah.
I didn't want, because what I've learned, I'm not where I want to be yet, but what I've learned fairly quickly is that I can put $5 out there. It could bring $5 can go and not come back, or $5 can come and bring 10 more. So money is a tool, is what I'm saying. Time, however,
we need to do a podcast on that. Money being a tool. Ooh. Yeah. Flames. Put the emojis up.
So money is a tool, but time, however, it comes and it goes and it does not come back for you. Like, you're only going to be 15 once. You're not going to go back in time. You're only going to be in your 20s once. And I believe in windows, this is just personal belief, I believe there is a window of time for everything.
Yeah,
I
agree.
God gives certain windows of time for everything. I believe that if I kept pondering and just overthinking about whether or not I actually step out on faith and try this, that after a while my window of time would have closed.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Do not know when. And me, who is a very curious person at times and was not curious enough to really want to find out. But I believe that there are windows of time for everything. And so that was my why. I didn't want time to pass me by, knowing that after I'm no longer young, I'm not going to be young again. And I missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
Never know where it can lead to. So that was the start, and that keeps me going. That's the root.
Okay.
So branching out of that, and then crazy stuff happening in my life, it just several other reasons came about that are really good reasons, but not necessarily as, they're strong, but not as strong as what the root did. Okay. The root got me right. Okay. The root got me going. It's like, okay, because that, even if those other reasons change, I'm still like, well, time is still what it is.
Yeah.
I can't let all this time pass by and not take advantage of the time and opportunity that I have.
Yeah.
And so, going along, it was, okay, I started buying a little bit more into it. Now it's like, well, I'm going as hard as I am because I want to be able to really put my all into this. I want to be able to do this full time. That's another why.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or, now, now as we speak, I got people that believe in me and what I'm doing.
Aww.
I'll debate on whether or not I want to say it because I knew it was gonna get sappy. But it's the truth. It is the truth. And so I got people that believe in me and they help me out. And that's another why.
Yeah.
That's a strong why.
That is a very strong why.
A very strong why, but that's another why. That wasn't the why at the very start. I didn't have it. It was just me and just wanting to see if I can do it. It was just a curiosity thing. Now that I know I could do it, okay, let's take this up.
Come on.
So
be encouraged. I like that.
That's the why.
So I think it'd be great, just a challenge. If some of you have dreams and visions and you're like, oh, I want to do this, and you're trying to find a solid why, but you're having a hard time, let your first why be like, why not? And why not let it be you? Why not you be the one to fulfill that dream? Why not you be the one to be the first to do it or be the one to do it better?
Right.
Go for it. We believe in you. We love you. Got this.
Oftentimes, it's not necessarily, depending on how you look at it, it may be the first in your family, but oftentimes in the grand scheme of things, in a worldview scheme of things, it's not necessarily the first to do something, but you could provide something new to the table. I'll never forget someone saying, go into the store and look at the bread aisle.
What?
Literally. Go into the store and you just look at the bread aisle. Bread's been around forever, but look at how many brands of bread there are.
That's a good point.
A bunch of people doing the same thing, but just bringing something different, something else unique to them to the table.
Come on.
And so I was like,
have everybody in the store.
Wow. Yeah.
Looking at the bread aisle.
Where's the bread aisle?
Right. Be like, yo, he was right.
Yeah.
And they go in there for motivation.
Right. And every time I'm in the store and I end up down the bread aisle, I end up thinking about that. And I was like, oh wow. So it's just really, if you don't allow yourself to have excuses, there really will be no excuses.
Wow.
And so
you hurting people today, sir. Hurting our hearts.
I promise.
We need to hear it though. It just don't feel good. I'm like, oof, ouch.
I promise I'm not trying to hurt no one. It's just, but it's the truth, and it's everything I'm saying is stuff that I've learned personally. And so, but starting off, for example, I don't know exactly what you were, because you didn't say exactly what you were going for.
Me?
But you said at first, maybe it was just a hypothetical situation, but you said at first your why was generational wealth. That's a good why.
That's a really good why.
But probably too strong of a why to start off with.
Correct. Ouch. Okay. I'm just gonna go now. Just kidding.
Because think about it like this. Generational wealth is, who wouldn't want to create, wealth so much that they can pass on to the next generation of their family. But think about my why when I started off. I just want to see if I can do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't considering my family. I wasn't thinking about, I want to impact the world to be the greatest rapper ever.
Yeah, you don't want to be the GOAT.
That's too much.
Okay.
Starting off.
That's actually a really good point. I think,
I just want to see if I can do it. Oh, okay. Then I was able to do it. And I was like, okay, now that I did it, now that I did it once, I know I could do it again. Let's see if I can do it better.
Okay.
And then you just keep building.
That's good. I do feel like heck starts to cry. We didn't bring tissue, just kidding. No, I do feel that, going back to what you're saying though, a big reason why I tried to find a reason outside of myself is because a lot of times I have a lot of self-doubt and I don't believe in myself enough to be able to fulfill those dreams or reach that vision, if I'm being transparent.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've dealt with that a lot, even as continue to go. Now I'm a lot better. I really don't have those kind of things anymore, but last year I did. Last year, so, but yeah, I've learned that a confidence booster is just starting small and patting yourself on the back. Literally, if you really repeat what I was saying and my story of starting off, everything was just a confidence booster. And I was like I had no expectations. I said that I had no expectations for that project. I'm not expecting a chart, hit radio, go viral. I'm not expecting any of that.
Okay.
I just want to see if I can do it.
Okay.
Because I had my doubts. I knew I could write a song. I've written hundreds by then, but actually creating something and putting it out there.
Okay.
And for people to consume for themselves. It's like, okay, I just want to see if I can do it. That's the only goal. I want to know if I can do it. I put out 6 songs on the project because I felt that was a good number to shoot for.
Okay.
I wasn't shooting for. Now I can put out like 15 on the joint.
Relax.
Oh no, it's not. It's like
calm down.
That's standard length for
it's
like a long.
We get it.
But starting off, that would have been overwhelming.
Yeah.
For someone who had never done it before, so it's like, okay, about 5 or 6 songs. I can create 5 or 6 songs. That's pretty solid.
Okay.
And so I did that. I created the 6. I produced it myself. I spent a couple of months working on it. And, Junior, he mixed it. Shout out Junior. He's mixed all of my stuff. And I put it out there. And I was like, wow, I did it. I knew it was going to show my amateurism. I even said it to Ryan. Shout out Ryan, who critiques all of my stuff. I knew it was going to show the fact that I hadn't done that before. But I just wanted to see if I could do it. And then once I put it out there, I was like, wow, I did it. So now that now it's a confidence booster. Now you didn't went to the next level.
Okay.
Mentally, because man, you did something at first that you wasn't really too sure if you can do.
Okay.
And you put it out there. You got the job done.
That's good.
Now you can do it again.
So it just starts off small.
Literally.
I hear you.
Literally. Like if you building a tower, you're not going to start building the 30th floor.
Right. You start at the bottom.
You gotta break your ground first, lay your foundation, and build up. And then shortly after I released that first tape, an old friend of mine that I had met in high school, we hadn't seen each other in a couple of years because she graduated before me. And I was at the community college, and I was setting up, this back when I was studying recording art, so I think we were just setting up the classroom, setting up the studio for like a practice session or something like that. And doing that, and then I see her from afar off, and I'm like, that look like so-and-so, but it's like blurry, and I just kind of I shout her name, and then she turned her head, and then she started walking towards me. I'm like, oh yeah, that is so-and-so. And then she come up to me, and she said, hey, I peeped your tape. I had just recently, and I knew this was God. She was like, I had just recently got into the church and got saved, and I was just looking for some, new music to listen to.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And she was like, that was very timely. I really needed to hear that. And I was like, wow, all of that is confidence booster. So it's did it once, no, I can do it again. So now my why is stronger than ever.
Okay.
Because I've put out several projects. I've hit radio. I've been teased with it. I'll just say that. I've been teased with what I know that I could accomplish. And I have more people believing in me now. And so now the why is a lot stronger. But if I was I'm going to rap, then we're going to the podcast and merch and all that stuff, I wasn't thinking that then. I was like, let me just see if I could actually make a song.
Okay.
Got to start with what you can handle, then build, is what I'm saying.
Okay, come on. I feel so I just have to touch on a couple of things. Because one thing is can we talk about mindset? Because what you're talking about, and we talked about this last time in just book recommendations, but I do want to bring up Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Because I feel that was a big attribution to your mindset now when it comes to your dream and things like that.
Yeah.
Unless I'm wrong. So you correct me if I'm wrong. And if so, just
I started putting out music when I was 18.
Okay.
I read I came across Think and Grow Rich when it was after I turned 22.
Really?
And I'm 23 now, so it's about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So that book's entry into my life is very recent.
Okay.
I never knew the book existed, and I actually never bought the book. It was gifted to me by a former coworker of mine. Think and Grow Rich, it was gifted to me about a year and a half ago, and even then, it took me a minute to actually, because I'm a slow reader, it took me a minute to actually crack open the book and read it. So I probably held on to it for Maybe 6 months.
Okay.
About anywhere between 3 to 6 months before I actually decided to read it. And yeah, so that came later.
Okay. So then with your mindset, so how would you encourage those of us who are like, okay, I have a dream, I have vision, like how do I get out of my head to where I can actually create steps and actions to get there? Because I think that's something that people struggle with.
Yeah.
Or would you say that you just kind of struggle through it and you're just like, you just start going, or like what would be helpful?
That's actually part of it. You're definitely going to struggle through something when you do this. Honestly, take notes from what I did. Notice how I started off. Mentally, I started off small because I was starting off small. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, I wasn't, everyone wants to like shoot for the stars, which is great, but I was a little bit more realistic at that time. Mm-hmm. And I was like I knew I didn't have any expectations. I knew it was going to show off my amateurism. I just wanted to see if I could do it. Mm-hmm. It don't get no smaller than that. You got to meet yourself where you're at.
Yeah.
So mentally start off small, figure out whatever your first step is, and then and if you have to, set a deadline. Mm-hmm.
Deadline.
There's power in a deadline.
There is, truly.
There's power in holding yourself to a deadline, because you have to abide by that deadline, and you have to do what you got to do. I hold myself to deadlines. When I'm creating songs, it's like, okay, by this time, I gotta start sending stuff in and mixing and mastering. And it, I was never slacking leading up to that point, but it adds more to the focus, because I know that I'm supposed to get these records into Junior. First, they gotta go to Ryan, so I gotta send them to Ryan, and then let him spend as much time as he needs to, and then he's gonna send his notes back. But I got to get these records into Junior by this time, or like if we're, if it's about time to release stuff, we got to shoot music videos. We got to get these videos going by this time, because by this time we have to release, because the year is about to end, or I'm trying to get out within a certain amount of time. It's like deadlines, and like locking yourself into it.
Okay.
But before you even get there, start very small.
Okay.
Whatever your first step is. For me, my first step was, okay, I'll write a song.
Okay. Wow, that was so simple. I'm like, oh, okay, write a song.
The first step is often very simple. So my first step was, okay, write a song. I've written plenty of songs before, so it wasn't like I was unfamiliar to writing a song. So, okay, write a song. Wrote a song. Spent some time writing while also making beats. I was messing around with just making beats in general at that time. So now it's like, okay, now these beats I'm gonna work on. It's like stuff that I'm gonna try to get it to as good as I feel like I can get them to, because I want to put it out there. And so just doing what I normally would do, write like how I normally would write, but this time I'm actually trying to get it out there. So then it was like, okay, now I got to get the recording equipment. I didn't buy 2 computers, the mics and mic stands and the software all at once. I got this computer. You guys probably can't see it, but the computer recording mode right now was actually gifted from my dad for my 18th birthday.
Oh, wow.
So didn't have to buy a computer. So it's like, okay. And mind you, I was studying recording arts at the time, and so I would go and ask questions to the people that knew more than I did.
That's a good one.
Yes. Ask questions. Would pick people's brains. And so I remember I would go to the program counselor. His name is Aaron. Shout out Aaron. I'll never forget Aaron. Because the thing that he recommended I still use to this day, which is it's an interface of not a Focusrite, but a PreSonus interface. And he was like, okay, this is your budget. You're working at Jack in the Box. You're just starting to kind of build your little home studio. You're just starting off. You don't really want anything super complex, Sean. So, and then he plugged me with Sweetwater, which is a website where I got it from. And I still use Sweetwater to this day. And he was like, you should probably get you this. This is just $100. I was like, okay, I got $100. Bought that. And then it was like, okay, now I got this. What else do I need? Well, I'm going to need a microphone. I was studying microphones as part of the program at the time. So I was like, okay, from what I'm doing, I probably could use this type of microphone. I went to Guitar Center in Concord, which is 20 or so minutes from where I live. And I went in there. I was just like, hey, I'm trying to do this, and I need a microphone. And then they started helping me out. It's like, okay, we have this. This sounds like it'll fit your needs. This one works. This was actually the second microphone I got. The first microphone I got was kind of boo-boo.
Okay.
So the second microphone I got, went to Guitar Center and got it. And I got it on deal because it was the last one to stock.
Come on.
And I got that. And then probably at the same time or a little while later, I got the mic stand.
Okay, so in the midst of all this, you were still writing the song?
I was still producing
Gotcha.
the beats and working on actually writing the songs.
Okay.
And slowly but surely just bringing in the equipment.
Okay.
And like one of my MIDI keyboard, it was like Cyber Monday. Yeah, it was Cyber Monday right after Black Friday, and so I got it on deal and stuff like that. And so I got that, and it actually sat for a while before I actually used it. But yeah, and I just kind of slowly, because I recognized that this is the steps, this is what I needed. And then it was like, well, where's the place to record? Well, I knew I didn't want to spend money on studio time.
Okay.
And both my parents worked at the time, so I was like, let me just do this when they're like both not home.
Okay.
And so they were both at work. I came home from school. I was like, okay, I'm gonna record and I'm gonna just do it, because we were in a much smaller, tighter space at the time. So that's the only space that I had to even record. So I went home from school, set my stuff down, grabbed my computer, got my phone with the lyrics on it while my parents were still at work. I started.
He's in there dropping bars.
And boy, I didn't know what I was doing. And I actually said it on Characteristics of Success. I think the very first song I ever recorded never came out to this day. Never is going to come out.
Okay.
But nah, if you heard it, you wouldn't.
I was like, we could just laugh at it.
Like, very first song I ever recorded, I sent it to Alan and he critiqued it. So yeah, that was just like my beginning. I remember recording in my parents' room, and then mid take, I hear a knock on the door. It's my dad, and like, you done in there? Like, he getting in from work, he trying to come in the room and stuff. That's where I started. I just, you got to start from where you at. If you at the bottom of the stairs, you're not gonna think, man, if I could just extend my leg all the way over and boom, now I'm at
like,
the top step.
I mean, there are some people that like, look, if I just like skip every 4 steps, I'm gonna get there faster.
Start with step 1.
Okay.
Start with step 1, and that's really just how you do it, and you just keep building off of that stuff.
Okay. Well, now, because you've said it multiple times, like there's a whole dream team behind you and that believe in you and things like that. So I guess, what would you suggest when it comes to like who's in your circle during that time? Because I feel like a lot of times, there's people, and we talked about this in Characteristics of Success, but there's like really people who are like trying to kill the dream and trying to kill the vision, or they're just like, so this is like a side note, but there's this book called The Artist's Way, which we also talked about before, by Julia Cameron, and like the part that I'm on right now is it's talking about crazy makers is what they call it. And it's like, crazy makers are people who like will literally suck up all your time when you like have deadlines and things like that. It's like, oh, they need you, and like the moment that you're starting to create, in the moment that you're in flow, they're like, oh, I need you to do this and I need you to do that. And it's just like, and it's disruptive, right? And so it's very disruptive to your creative process. And so another thing that the book was talking about was how, as you are as a creative, like, because we all are like creation, so like we all have some kind of creativity, some kind of thing that we are supposed to be putting out into the world. Amen. And so that being said, a lot of times, like when we ourselves as individuals are inside of like creative flow and we're beginning to become unblocked creatively, the people around us can start feeling some type of way because they're so creatively blocked. So it's almost like this frustrating when they see you like getting out of the like, chains or grasp of like, just, I don't know, like complacency and just like not being creative and not doing what you're made to do and things like that. There's almost like this jealousy that rises up, like, oh, they think that they better than me or something like that. But it's like, that's not the case at all. They're just becoming creatively unblocked, and you're mad because you're still stopped up and you're constipated creatively and you need some prune juice, you need some like stool, like you need some help, some laxative creatively, of course, unless you really need it then.
Yeah. So you're asking about like how
How do you choose people? Yeah.
Well,
I think that's hard because sometimes you want it to be family, and you're like, oh, like so and so, and like, yeah, but it's just like, what? Just say it.
You hit a note. I ain't gonna say that part. But
okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do. Sometimes you're like, oh, I just want it to be family, or like almost it becomes like a convenient thing, and we forget about like character. We forget about like how people have shown up in our lives and things like that, and we don't take all those things into account when it comes to our dream. But it's sacred. It is something special.
Yeah. So
sorry, that was like a lot.
No, that's
like,
legit. Yeah, that's legit. Okay. So mind you, as to the audience, as we're filming this. As you're watching this, we are on the ground floor, and everything is coming together and building on up. Nowhere near am I where I want to be, but working to get there. But I have said on this episode that there are people that aren't in front of the camera that help make stuff like this possible.
Yeah.
Now, as far as how to assemble the Avengers, well. That is very good.
I be having you speechless sometimes. I'm like, so sorry. I really
you be asking questions
thinking.
I don't ever think about. This is really good. This is really good. One, well, chemistry is very important.
Okay.
But what I've learned with myself, there was always a bond established and something of meaning, something
like
that was
substance?
meaningful, substance.
Like it's not just like fickle.
Before some sort of business aspect started.
Oh, that's good.
Like for example, with Brandon, who I always shout out every episode.
Oh, you didn't so far, so shout out to Brandon.
Shout out to Brandon, just in case I ain't shout him out this episode. I probably did, but hey.
we just love him.
We've been filming all day.
Love Brandon.
We get tired. But me and Brandon have known each other since we were 15. We didn't start doing this until years later. I think 3 or so years later. By that time, we been brothers. We been the squad been family. We knew Alan. I met Alan. I don't know when Brandon met Alan, but I met Alan at 13. 10 years later. You know what I mean? It's been like what, 3 years?
Dang, yeah.
3 years. We just now starting to do this.
Yeah.
Ryan, who critiques the music, went to school with me and Brandon and Alan in the squad. I would see Ryan all the time. He graduated the same year as us. I would see Ryan all the time, all throughout campus with that football. Shout out Ryan. He gonna laugh when he see that part. And when we were both in the LMC program, recording arts program together. So we had a lot of classes together.
Okay.
And so we got real close, and I would give him rides home and stuff. And I think at one point it's like, yeah, man, I'll slide you a bit of gas. And I said, bro, nah, you good, bro. You're my dog. I'll take you to the crib. So I would take him home every night because we would have night classes and stuff like that. So I'd take him home, and then, I met his parents and all of that kind of stuff, and even did a song with his mom on one of my earliest stuff. And, something was established before we got into that. And with Junior, me and Junior, we met Junior in the same program. Something was established there and all those kind of things. So I'm all for organic connections.
Okay.
Stuff that happens naturally. And so things have been able to come together pretty easily because it's like, it's like I'm getting to know people and they're becoming like part of the family. And then somewhere along the way, it's like, oh, we just ended up doing this type of thing. Like, I didn't know we was going to end up doing a podcast.
You're lying.
Together like 6-8 months ago.
Okay, yeah, no.
Or like when we first met.
Right. It was just the thought. Literally.
Like, I knew I wanted a podcast.
I knew I wanted a podcast.
And we knew each other wanted a podcast.
Yeah.
But even then, it was like, oh, I want a podcast. You want a podcast? Let's do something. Like, no, that didn't come till way down the road. And so for me, it's just been natural connections, natural, like, organic stuff. And there's been times where I thought certain people would be more committed. I find that some people are in for the long haul. Some people were in just for that particular moment.
Okay. Like
and that's perfectly fine. You know, God orchestrates all things, and everyone plays whatever role that he'll have for them to play. And so that's what I would say. If it comes together naturally and organically, that's the best thing, because it's like, you know, it's real. You know, it's not like you met the person with the intent of it being that.
Oh, okay, got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I put it to you like this. Let's say this stops. Transparency Music Podcast. Like all of that stuff.
Literally
done.
stops.
Let's say Brandon motion to cut the camera off. Let's say I quit, or what, this just for whatever reason this stops. Brandon is still my dog. Is brothers first. We also do this though. You still my dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We also do this though.
Right.
Ryan is still my dog. I still check up on bruh. And it ain't just to like, hey yo, I sent you some stuff in your email. Not like, how you doing? How mama and them? Right. How your siblings and them? How your niece and nephew doing?
Right.
You know, I still tap in with Jenna from time to time. Who, for those that don't know, me and Jenna, we co-produce and we done a lot of music stuff. If you like Once More Time, that's all Jenna. And Junior. You know what I'm saying? I'll still tap in, like, bro, you straight? How you doing?
Yeah.
You know, if I stopped, that part's not gonna change.
Okay.
You know,
I get you.
You know what I mean?
It does make a difference, you would say.
It's a huge difference.
And like the production and just even in like the getting things done part of things.
Yeah, it's like, I think it makes a difference because it has more like, I guess what's the word, sentimental value, or I don't know, something along those lines. It means a little more.
Yeah, okay.
You know, because this isn't just, oh, it's just some guy I know or just some guy I met. It's like, nah, like me and Junior known each other 5 years. We met when I was 18, and funny thing is, I was going to have my first project get mixed by someone else.
Okay.
They already had the music, and actually, so if I was to be technically speaking, Junior's mixed everything but one song, because the very first song I ever released was actually mixed by someone else who I thought was, you know,
in it for the long run,
or going to be or stick around for a little longer. Him and I were real tight, real cool. He was kind of like my first college friend that I made and stuff like that. And so he's like, yeah, shout out, you know, send me your stuff. I know you've been working. I'd love to mix it and stuff like that. And one night, and me and Junior were already cool at that time and getting to know each other. One night he came and he was like, you know, he saw me playing in the piano room at the school at LMC.
This is Junior.
Yeah, Junior, the one that mixes.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't get lost in the sauce. Okay, keep going.
So Junior came, and I'm killing time waiting for the night class to start, playing the piano in the piano room. And he comes up to me, and we just chopping it up, we talking, and then he tells me that he also likes to mix and master stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
As well. And I'm like, I bet, cool, and stuff like that. Other bro already had my music, you know,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but literally the next morning, old bruh's system crashed and was like, Sean, he was like, Dave, Sean, I can't mix your stuff. My system just crashed. It's over. It's like done for. And I was like, Junior,
come on. Oh, yeah.
You know, and so organic, natural connections. And these people that I established a relationship with 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, they still around. When I come up, everyone's gonna come up with me.
Come on, I love that. So can we talk about writing it down?
Like a business plan, or
just in general? Like, I just feel that a lot of times we just have all these ideas in our head, but like it's something so powerful about like writing down the vision and putting it on the wall, like what the Bible says. Yeah.
So I journal, as you know. I journal a lot, and a lot of my journal is me writing those ideas down. It's very important to write it down, because it's something like, and what I mean by writing it down, I mean like get a pen and some paper, not like on your phone.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's something about actually scribbling those lines out, or like writing those lines out, and just like it's just something. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's a personal preference, but it's just something about from the head to the pen to the paper versus just tap 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 tap. Okay, cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a little bit more of a thought process for me. But like, for example, just to show some sort of what it can do, I first wrote about starting a podcast in November of 2021. I wrote it because I knew I wanted to do it. There were some conditions I set. I wasn't going to do it by myself, meaning no co-host. And that was like the main thing. And like, if it's going to be by myself, I'm not doing it because I didn't feel like it would make for great content. And so it's like, I need a co-host. I don't know who in the world it's going to be, but I know I'm not doing it unless I got a co-host, and it has to be legit and straight and awesome and all of it. It just has to make sense. And I wrote it in my journal. It was like the second journal entry I ever made in that thing. I had just bought the book. Here we are in 2023. See what I'm saying?
Just like that.
Just like that.
Wrote it down. It was in there.
Wrote it down.
Done for. Done.
Wrote it down, and I wrote it down, and I kept it pushing. It's something about writing it down that kind of like etches it more. It kind of cements it more in your heart when you write something down. At least for me, I can only really speak for myself. But yes, definitely write I really believe in that. I do that all the time. And then I go back and I look, and it just something about writing it down that commits it more to heart, commits it more to memory. You know, so yes, I definitely recommend that, me personally. Write it down and then like also go back over time and just like read it too.
Kind of to remind yourself, like, oh yeah, these are the things that I want. These are the things that I'm praying for. These are the things that I'm working towards.
And it's like amazing. Like for me, it's amazing writing something down and then it like happens. Like you and I just had that conversation just on the phone like last night. It's like I wrote about wanting to launch a podcast, and you know,
I know. Let's give them the full story though. That's hecka funny.
But yeah. So.
But sorry. Yeah. Literally, just what I meant by that was just like, because he wrote it down, and then pretty much he was like, I was like talking to him about interviewing him for his Transparency 2 album. That's what I meant. And then he was like, oh, do you want to interview me? And I was like, oh, okay, great. And then I got there and he's like, so this is a podcast. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. And then he was like, yeah, like this is a podcast. He's like, you wanted a podcast? I wanted a podcast. And he said that on like the first episode. And I was like, right. And I was just like, okay. And so, yeah. And then I was like, nah.
On the phone, like she even gave the name for it and everything. She kept feeding so much into it. It's like you can't feed that much into it and at least not follow through and see where it could go, even if it don't work.
That's facts. Yeah.
But yeah, and like you'll see it when you watch the first episode. If you haven't watched the first episode, watch the first episode, especially towards the end. You'll kind of catch on where I'm like, we doing this again?
No, literally. I was like, okay.
We were figuring out all in that moment.
And so, yeah.
And we just did it. We just acted quick off the inspiration and just did it. And that's really what it is when it comes to, just to wrap things up, that's really what it is when it comes to like your goals and your dreams, whatever it is. It's like, once the little spark happens, take advantage of it.
Yeah, there we go.
And it grows.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good note to leave off on.
Okay, beautiful people. As always, links in the description below. Everyone's socials in the description below. forevertransparency.com. Podcast, music, merch. Look at it. Check it out. Share it with your people, with our people, everybody people. We love y'all.
Catch y'all on the next episode of Unrehearsed. Thank y'all for tuning in. Bye-bye.